Hi, everyone. Is everybody in? Welcome. So glad for those of you that could attend live to our Mindfulness-Based Childbirth and Parenting Teacher Training info session. We're so glad that you're here. We want to be sure to start right on time because we have a lot of great information to cover during this next 60 minutes, which feels quite ambitious, but we feel we can do this. Before we dive in, we would like to begin with a practice. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jane to be our guide.
Welcome, everyone. And thank you for taking the time today to be with us. Thank you for taking the energy. Life is busy, and we're grateful that you're all here. And so I'd like to invite you into a short settling in practice together. And first, to feel yourself here, to arrive. There was a lot that was involved in getting you here. And so taking a breath and maybe softening the eyes or closing the eyes and feeling the feet on the floor, feeling the contact of the body with all the surfaces that are supporting it. Feet, hips, back, the neck supporting the head, the hands in the lap or against the body or resting on the arms of the chair. And checking in with the body as a whole, aches or pains or ease that you bring with you to this practice. Noticing sound, my voice, and maybe whatever is in the environment around you. Taking perhaps a moment to notice what's in the mind, the tone that you've brought with you, busy, pressed, or perhaps curious, at ease. Whatever is here for you today, no need to change anything, just acknowledging and being with. And when you're ready, coming to the breath. And seeing if you can notice the first sensation of the in-breath. What lets you know that an in-breath is happening? And perhaps noticing the infilling of that breath, the receiving of this air, this life, this breath. And inviting the attention to turn towards the place where the infilling is complete and the release of the breath begins. What sensation lets you know that a breath is releasing? And following the release of that breath, perhaps taking a moment to notice that your body already knows how to let go in this moment. And maybe there's a pause, or maybe there's a flow into the next breath. Inviting the attention, if it wanders away, to come back to the sensation of this breath in this body right now. And letting the first bell recall the attention to the sensations of this breath. And letting the second bell deepen the breath and bring energy and attention into the body as a whole. And letting the third bell invite you back to this shared space. Eyes open and ready to engage with this group. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and I'll turn it over to Elinid.
I think I'm going to jump in next, Jane. Thank you so much for that beautiful beginning. So today, a little bit about what you can expect. We want to begin by sharing why one might even want to bring mindfulness to bring mindfulness teaching to being taught during pregnancy, and share more about the curriculum. Many of you likely know our training is extensive. It's across 9 months, and we want to share with you a bit more about what you can expect during those 9 months. And as well as what kind of background might be most useful for you before coming in and beginning this training. And of course, want to talk about the application process and what you can expect in terms of timing and the finances as well. And then we'll end our session with a really wonderful panel of teachers who are either in the training or have done the training and would like to share with you about their experience and how they're applying it in their work. And if we have time at the end, we'll do some Q&A from the audience. I would like to invite you to feel free to chat your questions at any time from now forward throughout the presentation. The chat questions will come to me, and we will try to answer as many as we can at the end. But if we can't get to them all, we'll follow up with written answers to all of your questions and send them over email. And so just a quick intro. My name is Kelly Brush. I'm the managing director and really excited to be here with you today.
Kelly, do you want the rest of us to say hi?
Yes, please.
Okay, so my name is Elinid Gold and I am the Director of Training. So I am really thrilled to speak with you today and to have this opportunity to give you some detail about our training.
And I'm Jane Gerlach. I'm thrilled also to be here and see some familiar faces and some absolutely new to me faces, and new friends waiting to happen, new colleagues in the making. I participate in the teaching of MBCP, and then I also work in mentoring or supporting and guiding new teachers as they sink into this practice. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lily. I'm the program coordinator for the MBCP Teacher Training. So my role here is administrative support for teachers and teachers in training. So if you have questions or concerns throughout the application process and beyond, I'm here to support.
And so just a brief overview of who we are. So we're the Mindful Birthing and Parenting Foundation. We're a nonprofit that was founded by Nancy Bardacchi, who developed this 9-week mindfulness-based childbirth and parenting course back in 1998. She actually began teaching it out of her living room in Berkeley, California in the US. And since then has published the book Mindful Birthing, which has been translated into 7 languages, and we will keep going with that. And since then has formed the foundation, where this foundation here, we offer this teacher training, which you're here to learn more about. And it's developed to help perinatal and mental health providers who work with parents, expectant parents during this time, and are interested in bringing mindfulness skills into their work. We also offer online courses that can be delivered directly to expectant parents as well. So our team includes perinatal mental health providers from all over the world. We're a global foundation, and we have trained over 200 MBCP teachers worldwide. And now I'll turn it over to Elinid.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Yeah, that's exciting just to see it all written down there and to hear you just describe the work that we do. So, thank you. So, yeah, why bring mindfulness into this period of parents' lives? Well, I don't think it's news to anybody that parenting is a stressful time in our lives, and that stress and that concern can begin right at the beginning of pregnancy. So actually bringing skills to people to help them manage that stress is really, really helpful. And we know from some of the research just how helpful it can be. And just to kind of place it in contemporary times, at times of COVID, then that's anxiety and stress for parents is really increased. And we've seen that in our work this year, in the teachers that we're training this year, and also amongst the parents that we've been teaching this year, is a real sense of that anxiety, that stress that people experience has really increased this time. So some of the research, and I have to say that our research still is early days, but nevertheless it's extremely encouraging in terms of decreasing postpartum depression, which a lot of health care providers are concerned with, and generally improving people's experience of childbirth, particularly in terms of feeling a little bit more in control of their experience, feeling that they personally have the skills to help themselves with the birthing process and with the parenting afterwards. So it's not to say that practicing mindfulness will give everybody the birthing experience exactly that they want. But one of our participants has previously said, and I use this quote a lot, it didn't give me the birth experience that I wanted, but it helped me fall in love with the birth experience that I had. And I think that coming to terms with birth and all its unexpectedness is one of the enormous values of bringing mindfulness to people at this stage. So we've recently had some follow-up research on some of our early research, which did show a decrease in postpartum depression. And excitingly, the follow-up research actually shows that that effect has lasted 1 to 2 years after birth. So we're really looking at changing the trajectory of parents' experiences potentially. And just to add in, we're now developing a mindful parenting follow-up course to the work that we do, and we're just piloting that, so that's also very exciting. So let me, could you move the slide on for me, Kelly? Thanks. So let me just move into giving you a little bit of detail about the training. So can you just jump to the next slide as well, Kelly? Okay, so the level 1A, our foundation level, involves you studying at home and becoming a participant observer of a taught course. So you would watch a course taught by Nancy, the founder of Mindful Birthing, through streamed video, so you can watch that in your own time. And what we suggest is that people watch one session a week, which is about 3 hours. And then to engage in weekly readings, and we will suggest the readings that you do so that you're following along in the book. And then really essentially to complete the same home practice, the same mindfulness practice that the course participants are doing. So you get a real sense of the experience of an MBCP class. And then to begin to assist you in your reflections, then there are 5 seminars, dialogue seminars that are led by faculty that you would participate in as a group. So you get to speak with your colleagues and to reflect together on what you're learning from watching and being a participant observer on the course. So you can see on the slide that I've just given a little summary of the time commitment in each of the modules, because I think that's important for you to really understand that this is quite an intense training. So during the foundation level, you'll deepen your own practice and also have an experience of the impact of the course on the course participants. Yeah, thanks, Kelly, if you can move it on now. And then module 2, which is 12 weekly online classes of 2.5 hours. So at this point, you'll attend classes weekly with everybody else. So the group really starts to come together and work together. And this is an opportunity then to begin to make that shift from mindfulness practitioner to mindfulness teacher. So level 1B consists quite a lot of you practicing teaching the course, and you practice that in class by small group work, usually 2s and 3s. But also really importantly, weekly you'll have a learning partner, and in between classes you'll connect with your learning partner and do some more teaching practice. And this is what our trainees, our students report as enormously helpful and supportive. Then you'll also continue obviously your own mindfulness practice and participate in our community space, cafe space, by writing reflections and sharing. So you have a kind of written dialogue with the whole class about what you're learning and things that occur to you and reflections that you have. So really stepping into the mindfulness teacher role and learning those skills of teaching, and very crucially learning about the art of inquiry, which we'll talk about more later. So again, the time commitment is about 5 hours a week. Okay, Kelly, do you want to move on again for us? Thank you. So level 2, we dip a little bit more deeply into the kind of underpinning theory of behind mindfulness teaching in particular, and behind mindfulness teaching for childbirth and parenting more specifically. So there'll be kind of seminars and lectures from faculty, but also from some visiting lecturers that we invite to come and talk to our students. You'll continue with the weekly teaching practice with your peers, so that supportive process with peers carries on throughout both of these modules. And just to emphasize, this module is 10 weeks long and not 12 weeks long. So there's a deepening of your own practice, a deepening of your theoretical understanding at this point, and a continued engagement with faculty and with your peers. And then to attend at least one 5 to 7 day teacher-led silent retreat. Now, at the moment, those are happening online. We long for the day when we can go to retreats live once again, and hopefully that will happen. But that's an important element, and this is something that we expect teachers to do every year throughout your teaching career. So this would be the beginning of it, and hopefully something that you will find really helpful and supportive throughout the whole of your teaching career. And I think that's probably enough from me. If there are questions, then just keep firing them off. Thank you, Kelly. I'm going to hand over to Jane now.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And so if you engage with this training and you are a participant and observer, and then you move into that aspect of shifting participant and observer into teacher, and you also gather the underpinnings, the background, the science, the experience that underlays the program, and you finish that and you begin teaching. Yahoo! And you are not on your own. So there is a teacher community platform on a program called Rizuku, where you get to communicate with other teachers, new teachers, more experienced teachers. There's the option for ongoing mentoring, both individual, if you would like to do that, and in a group, which I would strongly urge because it's so valuable to meet other teachers. And those groups are mixed. Some brandy new teachers going for the first time, some teachers going for a second, third, fourth, or fifth group of teaching. And the questions of any one become the questions of all. And it's pretty profound how much I learn from all of you and you learn from each other, and then I can support that, and we can support that in mentoring. There's myself and several others. And then we have a process for ongoing teacher development, which is going to end up being quarterly. And every year will include a retreat that will be a day-long retreat time. And it will include a sort of substantial time that we look into this process that's so crucial and so, it's so almost inexplicable, and it's called inquiry. How do we bring curiosity to ourselves and our participants in this process, and how do we support individuals and each other in deepening practice? And so inquiry gets to be a yearly part, and deepening inquiry skills gets to be a yearly part of the ongoing professional development. And then there will be 2 other sessions per year. Those topics might change. Coming up within the next year will probably be a session about deepening the ability to help people process their own birth stories. And each year there'll be something else, something new, something different. And then there's an option over time for certification. And I just do want to say that this is an ongoing process. Maybe the next slide with the flower growing, because this isn't something you do in 1 year and then kaboom, you're done and, you're out there. We grow our skills as teachers and our skills in our own mindfulness practice over time. And we support each other in doing that. So it's ongoing. It's not a one and done. It's a different kind of learning than we might be accustomed to from our own experience of school or learning. This is process, not finished. And next slide, Kelly. So we're suggesting that you have an established personal practice of mindfulness before you begin into this process of training to be a mindfulness teacher. And I just want to emphasize this because this is the place from which all of our skills grow. We can't teach without personal practice. What arises in personal practice informs our teaching, our interaction with our students, our interaction with our colleagues. And so a personal practice of mindfulness, including a daily practice of movement, whether it be Qigong, yoga, but the body is that first foundation, and really want you to be able to sink into the body as a source of knowledge, a source of being. Prior to starting the course, it's incredibly valuable for you to complete an 8-week MBSR or MBCT course, or a 9-week MBCP course, if that's appropriate for you. And that would be prior to starting the course. Oh yeah, so it's great if you have a core professional training in perinatal health or mental health. If you're in mental health and you don't have a perinatal health background, we'll have some support for you in terms of supplemental training through a module called the birth module. That module won't substitute for you getting into the birth room with women, experiencing birth, experiencing and letting yourself be open to the unpredictability, the uncertainty, the absolute gloriousness of birth. Background experience in working with women, families, or children is really helpful, and experience in teaching adults and especially groups, because all of this is adult learning and it occurs in groups. I think I exceeded my time. Hey, Lily, it's up to you.
All right. So I have a little bit of information for you about the application process and finances. So if you're planning to apply, here's some information for you. So first, the application process. Applications are open, and you'll find the application form on our website. And in a moment, I will share my screen with you and walk you through how to do that. Applications are reviewed on a rolling basis until the training is full. So as applications come in, we will be reviewing them. Admission decisions are made within 30 days of your submission of your application. And once you're accepted into the program, to hold your seat, there is a non-refundable deposit due. So that's a $500 deposit due within 30 days of your acceptance into the program. Applications officially close on the 10th of September or once the training is full. And the course begins the 14th of September. And I'll also show you when I share my screen with you where you can see the full schedule for the course. Fees. So there's a $50 application fee. And to thank you all for being here or watching this recording later, we have a promo code for you for 50% off that fee. So if you apply before May 1st, you can use this code TT25OFF and receive $25 off that application fee. And again, I'll show you where you'll input that to get that promo. The tuition for the full training is $4,750, and that's US dollars. And that is for the level 1A, level 1B, level 2, and an 8-week group mentoring. And if you plan to pay in full, there's an early bird discount of $250 if you pay before the 15th of August. All right, and some financial aid information. Our most popular financial assistance is through our payment plans. You'll see here there's 3 options: a low or a 0 interest 8-month payment plan. And that comes out to $530 a month, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. There's an 18-month low interest, which is $242 a month. And then the 24-month is $182 for 24 months. And payment plans are available to anyone in the program. There's no application needed. So if this would make it possible for you to attend, they're available to anyone. And all of the payment plans include that $500 deposit due within 30 days of your acceptance. And scholarships. So we have a limited number of full and partial scholarships available. These are need-based scholarships, and they are prioritized to applicants who identify as a member of an underserved or under-resourced community. Also to providers who serve underserved or under-resourced communities. And again, to providers who serve members of high-risk perinatal populations. And scholarship decisions will be made by the 15th of August. We do reserve a number of spaces in the class for scholarship applicants until that date, but those spaces are limited. So if you're able to pay by via a payment plan, we encourage you to enroll in one of those payment plans in order to secure your space. And for all scholarships, including the full scholarships, there's a minimum $450 copay, and that is to cover that 8-week group mentoring. And And I'll also say here about financial aid that we've had applicants seek funding through their own networks to cover the cost of training. So if it is feasible to you, we encourage you to look in your networks for such examples are grants or crowdfunding. Okay. And let me see, I want to share my screen. Okay, good to see you all there. Okay, can you see that? Yes, great. So I want to show you the application, how you'll navigate to that and submit that on our website. So where I am is at mindfulbirthing.org/teach and this MBCP Teacher Training. So you'll see this button, Apply Now. And actually, I'll point this out too, that suggested background that Jane went over, you can see right here and apply now. But before I click that, I want to show you the schedule for the course. So all of the dates for the course are right here on our website. So you can begin thinking about timing and if that fits into your schedule and making space for that. And then I'll click this Apply Now, which is also down here at the bottom of this page, and show you the application. So it's pretty straightforward. Oh, but it's not loading. There we go. So the application form is here on our website, and you'll upload a CV, a photo for our records, and a one-page letter of intent. And right here is where you'll put that promo code for the $25 off and submit. And before I leave this page, I want to show you. So if you're interested in a payment plan or scholarship, on your application form, you'll click here that yes, you're interested in learning about financial assistance, and we will send you more information and the application to apply for scholarship. And I wanted to show you also, there is a button here to see some info about payment plans and scholarships. All right, that was a whirlwind, but know that I'm here if you have questions. I'll hand it over to Kelly.
Thank you, Lily. All right, we're going to move into our teacher panel now. So let me just get my screen shared again here so I can introduce the wonderful panelists to you. All right. So we have 5 panelists here that I would like to just jump in to introduce you to. So we'll have them share their name, where they are in the world, their profession, and how they are using or planning to use the teacher training into their professional lives or personal lives. So Doigu, would you like to kick us off?
I'm opening the microphone. So, hi everyone, this is Duygu. I'm living in Istanbul. I'm from Turkey. And first of all, I'm mother of 2, which made me go into this direction. And I'm a qualified MBSR teacher. And beside that, I just want to say hi. And Kelly, is that how we do so?
Yes, perfect.
Or or shall I just going into training?
Yeah, and maybe how you plan to use the training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And since then, and I completed level 1A and 1B, and I'm just still in learning. And I'm just planning to include MBCP for mothers and birth professionals in my country. And besides that, here I also met Ezgi, which is another great woman here from Turkey, and we just met here, and we are happy to work together. And it's a good news that we will do a little workshop this Sunday. We will do our first invention, like work together.
Thank you. Ashley, would you like to go next?
Yes, I'm Ashley. I am in Minnesota in the US in a tiny little town called Orinoco. I am the mother of 4 with 1 on the way, so busy in that aspect of my life. I am a lactation consultant at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, as well as a perinatal education instructor there. So I took the MBCP Teacher Training in 2019 to 2020, and I am one of 3 MBCP instructors at Mayo. And I got to teach 1 in-person course before this pandemic hit worldwide, and just started my 5th online course for MBCP through Zoom, and have done 1 Mind and Labor weekend over Zoom as well. But I use my MBCP skills for teaching the class, but as well as in my lactation profession, I use my skills with my patients in a mother-baby setting and NICU setting and a clinical setting every day.
Thank you, Ashley. Josie, would you like to go next?
Yes. Yes, hello. My name is José. I'm from Quebec, Canada. For those who don't know, Quebec is the French part of the Canada. I'm mother of 3 and grandmother of 1. I'm a doula. I was part of the 1920 teacher training group with Ashley. And now I'm teaching MBCP online since March 2020, just with the beginning of this pandemic. I teach now my 7th 9-week cycle, and I'm the only one teaching this program in Quebec. And I use my skills, my new baby skills, also in my doula work. Thank you.
Thank you. And Yang.
Thank you, Kelly. Can you hear me clear? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Endang Floriana Listiawati. I'm originally from Indonesia, and I'm a mother of a 10-year-old kid. I'm a researcher and also clinical psychologist, and my research topic interest is around pregnant women's well-being, and I intend to use MBCP as my intervention program for my participants under supervision of Dr. Larissa Duncan. I have done my first class on Mind in Labor as a short program of MBCP in 2018 after taking my first MBCP teacher training class and also MBCP retreat in 2017. And then after that, I start my graduate study in US and joining internship with UW Health Mindfulness for MBCP workshop with Thomas Prince Lisa and also our MBCP teacher here. And as the first MBCP teacher from Indonesia, hopefully I can build an MBCP community and spread the benefit of MBCP to Indonesian community after finishing my study here. Thank you.
Thank you. And Vivi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Vivian and I'm in Bilbao, Spain. And I'm a psychotherapist and a coach, and I use focusing and mindfulness for my work. And I realized in my work that pregnancy, it was a very lonely time because you're supposed to be so happy. And there are so many things happening, no matter the age or whatever. So that's what took me to have this course. And also when I was pregnant and I was a mom, that also I realized that it was what I thought. So this is what I'm planning to do, to use this course to give it to groups, and also to use it, which I already do in my work. All the learning that I have, I mean, we just finished level 1B, and we're still in training. And I think that's what I can tell from now.
Thank you. So our first question, and I'll have two of the panelists answer this one. A really common question we get is, so if English is not your first language, is it possible or to take this training in English, or how is that for you? Doigu, would you like to share?
Yeah, I would like to share. You see, all the lessons are in English, and we are doing the seminars in English, but it does not require a professional level of speaking or writing. You will definitely see this because half of the group is in our group, half of the people were not native speaker. So it was all okay. And it was good that all the faculty was so mindful and encouraging that we are not speaking native as a native speaker. So in every seminar and every practice, they were always encouraging us, and they were so mindful that we had some difficulty around this area. And they provided some subtitles for the videos that was quite useful, and I really appreciate that. And I also with my partners, they matched us together in order for us to practice in our own language in the pairing practice. And I once had the memory of doing, while we were doing the pelvis practice, and it's kind of a quite difficult practice in terms of using the exact words for describing the parts of the pelvis. And they just guide us to be natural, and even we could use some words of our own language. And even I didn't know Spanish, I was quite able to catch my partner's guidance. It was all okay.
And Josie, do you have something to add?
Maybe I will repeat a bit. When I began the teacher training program in September 2019, before the pandemic and before all those Zoom meetings, we were used to this now, but we weren't in September. So I have to say that I was very skeptical about doing this kind of training online as well. I was not very confident in my English capacity at this moment. But I was so impressed by my Nancy's book reading that I decided to override my resistances and try. And I can assure you that I never regret it. I really have to thank all the faculty team members. They were all very encouraging and supportive, with patience, open heart. They guided participants, like said Dougie just before me. So they guided participants with other native language to express themselves, and they regularly recognize the effort needed to do that in another language, do the course in another language. So faculty guided and support was very, very deep with what was done with very deep mindful skills. Faculty really embodied their teaching, and it greatly helped me to build my confidence in speaking English, and also inspire me in my teaching now, how to teach, how to support my students, how to guide them, encourage them. So that's it. Whenever my resistance was about my abilities to speak English, it never has been a problem. And I'd like to thank faculties.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so I can keep receiving the questions, and I encourage the participants to feel free to chat in some more questions. The next one I want to dive into is about balance. So how do you balance the demands of your life and work while taking this training? And Ashley, why don't you start us off with that?
Yes, thank you. So as a mother of 4 with 1 on the way, scheduling I found in the beginning was difficult, and just trying to find that balance. But as you'll learn throughout the teacher training, our children who we've given birth to really are our mindfulness teachers. And I truly took that to heart and learned greatly from them in my informal practice. And then I was helped me to become more of an advocate for myself, to learn to block my schedule and group it and be able to fit everything in as I felt comfortable with, and really ask for help from family members, or even just coming to be comfortable with, if my girls who were 4 months old at that time, my twins, they needed me, then I fed them and they were on screen, and that was okay. The faculty was fine with that. My fellow classmates were fine with that. They were popping their little heads in and out, and it's a part of life. We're adult learners, and that's what we have to do when we take in a course as an adult, and learn and be able to share that with others. So yeah, I found my balance and was able to move forward and learn to schedule, and also be okay with if my little kiddos were on screen.
Thank you. And Dane, would you like to add to that?
Yes. Actually, I took my first MBCP training, teacher training program when I was in Indonesia. So it's really challenging for me to manage the time, because when the program starts, it's about 2 or 3 a.m. in Indonesia. So I need to wake up early in the morning to engage with all the sessions and in English. I think that's one time the most challenging for me at the time. But most of the time there's no problem with that, with my daily activities, because I took at night, so like my kid has go to sleep, and like I just need to adjust with my sleep time. Like if I have to attend the class, I need to maybe have a little bit rest at noon, so I can have like I really managed to join the class in really fit when I joined the class. I think that's and also the same with Ashley, family really helped me to manage like my time in a whole, because when I took MBCP retreat, I live for the first time my kid for a very long time. So my family, my husband, my mother also helped me to taking care of my kid. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a real commitment, getting up in the middle of the night like that. Wow. Vivi, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I think that has been my big learning from this course, and I'm still learning a lot, because for the first time I was being a student while I was a mom. And although I realized that she was 1 year and a half when the course started, I realized that, well, the night will be, the time schedule will be okay, and she will be growing. But it was really hard for me to realize that I couldn't be the student I was used to be while being the mom that I wanted to be. So it was really hard at the beginning, but the first weeks, because the practice and as my partners and the course, we say that my daughter was the best teacher on that, because I could tell that I wasn't doing what I really want to do. So being in the present, doing as good as I can. And I think part of the course is this, that you take what you can as you can and be kind with yourself. And that's the best thing I've learned this time, to be kind with me and doing the best I can, and that would be okay.
Thank you. We have a couple questions that have come in that I think would be good for Elena and Jane to answer. So I'm going to ask some of those, and then we'll come back to the panelists. I want to acknowledge we're also at the hour mark. So we'll keep going as long as we can, and questions are coming in. But if you have to leave, that's fine, and we'll send you the recording afterwards. Jane, Elena, we've got a couple people asking about, I'm going to kind of combine these two questions. So one is, does this training need to be completed within the 9-month window? Does it have to be sequential? So there's that. And then the other question similarly related is, we have a birth doula who's actively practicing and might be worried what happens if you have to miss a class due to unexpected things. Will it be recorded? Will there be any penalty for that? If you could speak to those two pieces, that'd be great.
Thanks, Kelly. Shall I go first, Jane? And then if I miss anything out, then you can jump in. Thanks. Yeah, good questions. So we're very aware, as you've heard from our panel, that the people that come on this training have many other life duties and commitments and passions. So we want to be as flexible as possible. So yes, for sure, we've had people who've done 1A and 1B and then taken a gap and jumped into level 2 the following year. So that's possible. That's preferable to splitting 1A and 1B, I do think, because I do think those kind of fit together in terms of your experience of learning. And then the other question was about attending every session. Well, the sessions are recorded, and if you can't be there for any reason, like somebody's having a baby and you need to be there, or your child is sick, or even, heaven forbid, you're not well, then, yes, of course, miss a session. But what we ask is that you make the time to watch the recording, and then that you kind of put a little bit of reflective writing onto the group, the community chat, because it's not for our benefit, it's for yours. It's just that when you watch on your own without the support of the group, it's really helpful to also be encouraged to do a little bit of personal reflection. So that's the way that we manage this. If it turns out that you're going to miss a lot for some reason, something unexpected happens, then we would really encourage you to talk to us, and we'll kind of figure out a way that we can support you in that. And we certainly wouldn't want to lose you, but neither do we want to put unnecessary pressure on anybody. So we are flexible and I think very family friendly as far as possible. So I don't know, Jane, if you want to add to that at all.
Yeah, I would just like to lean into that aspect of community, because one of the things we work to develop, we don't really have to work, it just develops, is a community of learners. And so the aspect of staying together from level 1A to level 1B is it is pretty supportive of the process, and so this sense of a community of learners, because I mean, you can sit and practice, and practice is supportive of you. But when you practice inside of a community and you have community of support, whoa, the growth is just amazing. So community is an enormous part of what we're developing and what we continue to support in terms of mentoring and the teacher community on Rizuku. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Really nice to add. Thank you, Jane, for that. Another question we've gotten from several is just sort of like, this might be a good Lily question. Is one, how large is the class size and how many what's our max acceptance? And then how is the course delivered? What platform? Where are people showing up and how is information delivered and received?
Mm-hmm. Those are great questions. The max size for the level 1A is 40 people. And the course is, so our live sessions are on Zoom. So much like this, but interactive. We use Zoom. And we have an online classroom platform, which has been mentioned a couple times. It's a program called Rizuku, but it is a space where the videos that you'll be watching, the readings that you'll be doing are available to you. The Zoom links are on that platform, and it's also it's a virtualized classroom. So it's where you'll be posting written reflections and there's some written communication with each other there.
Thank you. We also are getting some questions, Ellen or Jane, about just maybe shaking out a little bit more the difference or intentions of the three levels. I know you gave an overview, but the questions are, is there a varying sort of commitment that's needed to anticipate time, maybe between 1A, 1B, 2, and anything more you might say about how that might feel to a participant across the 9 months?
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, and our panel may want to chip in with this a little bit as well, but certainly I can talk about the intentions. So, 1A really is settling into the program and understanding the program, but really from the inside out. And we encourage that kind of learning all the way through. So 1A really is about experiencing the course, but also you kind of have an eye on how the participants in the videos are also experiencing the course. You can see week on week what they're learning from it. And at the same time, you'll be learning yourself and have an experience of that learning. And then you kind of take all of that richness and at 1B, you start to really see as a teacher, how we can encourage that growth and that understanding, that insight in our course participants. And that's really, if you like, the nub of the skills that we're learning, is how to deliver our the practices, how to deliver the curriculum, how the curriculum weaves so beautifully together. Particularly as Jane was describing, this process of inquiry, which sometimes is kind of the magical art of mindfulness teaching, really beginning to deepen into how we do that, why this process of inquiry is so rich and so valuable, and just beginning to dip our toe into the water of how on earth do we create that progress and that growth and that insight in our class participants through that process of inquiry. And then, having kind of partially digested all of that, we then move on to really looking at level 2, some of the theoretical underpinnings. So beginning to kind of see, well, how does this work? Why does this work? What are some of the conceptual ideas and theoretical ideas and some of the research behind why we teach this, how we teach this, and why it lands with our participants in the way that it does. So they are different styles of learning, different ways of learning. One is very much the participant observer. One is much more kind of doing and passing over some of this information and skills to others. And then probably level 2 is the most conceptual in that sense. So level 1 is very much experiential. And probably by the time we come to level 2, we are starting then to understand some of the conceptual ideas of what we're doing. But it's never that separate. They're all very closely woven together. And hopefully all together, you then feel some sense of integration and ready to begin with the teaching process at the end of all of that. And then the mentoring, Jane can speak to that, but that just continues that whole process, because in a way that just revisits all of those kind of as part of the teaching process and the support that we offer through the teaching process.
Yeah, I'd like to lean in a little bit to the experiential. The program is maybe a shift from how we experience learning. We experience learning as the open the head, dump in the knowledge, close the head. You know, here's the learning that we have in school. And the program has to do with how do we process what we're experiencing, and then how do we support our participants in processing what they're experiencing. So experiential learning is a key component here. Yeah.
Thank you. And do any of the panelists want to speak anything to about the time commitment and maybe what portion of the training felt a little bit more like got to dedicate to, or anything about just the ebb and flow of how it feels as a participant?
I can speak a little bit to that. I feel that 1A was very much watch the video, experience it through the participants that were in the videos, and then reflecting on that. So maybe a little less time commitment while still deepening your own practice. I would say level 1B was probably the most time commitment as far as being more engaged in the weekly classes, definitely deepening your own practice even further. And then there's also, one of my favorite parts was having a meeting with your partner once a week that you get paired with, and deepening your practice that way, deepening your learning, deepening your teaching, but also just getting to know somebody else that you wouldn't have the opportunity to, and maybe learning a little bit about their culture, especially if they didn't speak the same language or lived in the same country, which that was one of my favorite parts. Lifelong friendships developed there. And then the part 2, I would say it was somewhere between level 1A and level 1B for time commitment, level 1B being the most time commitment, and just a different way of learning as far as learning about ethics, learning about adult learning, adult teaching, learning about the principles of mindfulness itself, and how to apply that going forward, teaching other adult learners on a really a specific topic that you're teaching, but also being able to further your skills in inquiry and drawing their learning out while you're teaching them.
Thank you. Another excellent question has come in, just asking about our folks who maybe are already mindfulness teachers and have trained to be mindfulness teachers, but not with this lens. And is the training expectations the same for them, or do they join in at any other time? And what can you say about that?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Yeah, this is something that we've given quite a bit of thought to, but as yet we do not have a separate training for people who already have the mindfulness teacher training. And I would say that quite a few of our existing participants and people who've come through previously have already got mindfulness teacher training. And nevertheless, I think they have found the training really, really helpful. So in some ways you're coming at this slightly differently, but nevertheless, you know, as we know, there's always learning, particularly when we consider mindfulness, there's always this possibility to learn. And as Jane has been emphasizing, there is this sense of this community. So really understanding from a kind of community point of view, the work, and particularly if you don't have a birthing background, then the learning, and particularly having such a mixed group, a mixed skill group, is really valuable for everybody. So I would say it's still really useful and important training, and maybe you come into it feeling slightly less, maybe just a teeny bit little less lost than some of the people who are right at the beginning. And just to say, we are considering separating that training out, but we're not at that point yet. So really encourage people just to, if this feels right for you and you feel ready, then really encouraging people just jump in and go for it.
I would love for Doigu to maybe speak to this, since you are an MBSR teacher.
I would definitely add this point that MBCP contributed a lot into my teaching MBSR, because here you see another way of dealing with distress, especially when you are talking about contractions of life. I will just perceiving the contractions as a way of living. It's come and go, and I'm using a lot metaphors or cognitive approaches to in my classes, not in the same way, but the conceptual frame behind this is very influential. And besides, MBCP teacher training is very rich, and I'm very happy to have this, because in MBSR training there might be some less parts, and this is all covered here. I can tell this.
Okay.
Oh, thanks so much, Jugu. I just want to I have to lean in here as the midwife. Nancy says again and again inside of MBCP that birth is the teacher. Well, birth is just the prelude to life, right? And so birth and life are the teachers. But the intense and compacted nature of pregnancy and birth, it has, roughly a 1 year, becoming pregnant, the 9 months of gestation, and maybe if you take 3 months of the early parenting and you put that together, you have a year worth of very intense learning that holds all of the uncertainties, stresses, and all of the challenges that we experience in our lives. And so birth becomes a really unique place to introduce these skills that then support us onward.
Thank you. The next question, and again, I want to give permission to any of our panelists if you have to leave. Ellen and Jane, if you need to leave, it's okay. I'm going to keep going since there's questions still coming in and people here, but want to just give you that moment.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. I am being called actually to a meeting that we have of all our trainers from around the world. So I am needing to jump off, and just to say thank you so much to everybody for this opportunity to talk to you. I hope it's been helpful, and do keep going with the questions and anything that's required for me to answer. I'm really happy to Kelly and I will sort it out and send answers by email. So I will jump off now and say thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly, for organising this. Thank you, Jane, for being my buddy along this journey, and especially thank you to the panel for showing up and being so enthusiastic. It's lovely. And I'll, hopefully see some of you in September. Okay, bye now.
Bye.
So before start, I want to thank you all, and I need to quit because I have a lesson, MBSR lesson right now. Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you in MBCP. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I will just say something. I have to quit too. So I encourage you to do this wonderful training program. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, who do we have hanging on? Anyone else need to say goodbye? Okay. So another great question is if you get a certificate after all the levels, or is it just level by level? And this might be a good time to maybe speak to Lily. Maybe you could answer that part about the certificate of completion, and then maybe Jane just say a bit about our certification process as well.
So the certificate of completion, you'll receive two of them, one after level 1. So after 1A and 1B are completed, and then a certificate of completion after level 2. And yes, you do need to have those to move into the certification process.
Oh, thanks, Lily. And the certification process, I mean, there's a thing, right? And we're accustomed to things. We do level 1, level 2, level 3, and we get the diplomas and the degrees and the whatever. And I really love to invite you more into this process of growth, of development, of flowering, of seeding, So we start in this process, and there's not a timeline, It's just it's where you are. So after you complete, level 1, A and B, and then you invite yourself to sink deeper into level 2 in terms of the theoretical underpinning. Then you teach. Oh my. And I know all of you who are teaching will say, wow, the teaching, there it is. That's the place. And so you teach for a while, and we encourage you to teach somewhere between 8 and 10 full 9-week MBCP courses before you even think about certification. Because in those 8 to 10 courses, you're letting go of the old style deepening your own practice, moving into the embodiment of mindfulness. And then you think, oh, well, maybe I can be certified. And that, in that maybe space, would be when you might work with one of your mentors. You might touch into your mentor and say, so I've been through a couple of mentoring groups and a couple of individual mentoring sessions, and I've taught this many MBCP series. What do you think? And then we might say, I'd love you to deepen your own sitting practice, or I'd love you to take some more long retreats, or I'd love you to teach a few more classes, or have another mentoring session, or go for it. We might just say, go for it. Yeah, this is the time. Because certification doesn't mean done. This is marvelous, about this process. There's no done. So you say, okay, I'm entering the certification process, and I reflect on my own growth and development, and I submit videos and audios of my own teaching. Oh, look, I did that pretty good. So you have those videos and audios of your teaching, you have your mentoring, and then you have your sense of where you are in this process, and the senior faculty lean in and support you and say, yeah, great, or a little bit more here, a little bit more there. So certification becomes a part of a process, not an end goal. But certification invites you to have 8 to 10 completed courses. I wish I had the thing in front of me, but 10 completed mentoring sessions, the recommendation of your mentor, your own reflections, and the submission of videos surrounding teaching or reflection, teaching or meditation, inquiry, and teaching a couple of crucial whiteboard experiences. So that's what certification entails. But I just want to have it be out there as an open process, a process in which you apply to learn more about yourself and about your teaching.
And Jane, is there a test after any of these levels, or how are people assessed to be able to move on?
Oh, no test.
No test.
No test. A, B, C, D. No, F. Forget that. You never fail. You never fail at this. You just say, ooh, grow a little more in this direction, grow a little more in that direction. So no test. But the mentoring becomes a really enormous place of support for you about the what next. Teach a little more, come into mentoring a little more. Yeah, I don't know how it will go for any of you, but it's organic. Like the spring here in the Northern Hemisphere, we've got more light and more water, more warmth and growth.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to end with one final question. And again, if your question didn't get answered explicitly during our time here, we will be following up with an extensive outline of all of the answers. So stay close to your email. So for our panelists, our final question is just share what has been the most rewarding and also the most challenging part about taking this training.
I can go. Oh, as we okay. So the most rewarding for me is to be part of this world MBCP community. That's the most rewarding part. Like knowing Jane, Lily, and Sierra here, and also Eleanor and Nancy, of course. That's, I can say that's a life-changing experience for me. Because knowing mindfulness is actually, I have known mindfulness since I think 2007, I guess, but taking MBCP and then really resonate that to my life as a person. That's really like how we grow a baby also. So yeah, it's just like really the same. Like I experience most of like my daily experience is similar, like having growing baby in our belly and how to be mindful during this growing time. The most challenging, I don't think there is any challenge moment when I took the class, but maybe only when I took the class in Indonesia. So I need to manage that sleep time. That's really challenging, but after all, I don't have any challenge. But maybe now as a researchers, I really need to work on translating and back translating the materials that I got from MBCP to my language. And overall, thank you so much for Jane, Lily, Sierra, and other MBCP faculty.
Thank you.
I think the most challenging for me at first, again, was just how to be an adult learner, how to schedule things, how to fit it all in, family, career, learning. But you get it. You figure it out and you do what you need to do. The biggest reward really, again, I like to echo what Endang says, is the community. It's such a rich community, and it's not just teacher learner, it's becoming friends with everyone, which I find very valuable and very rewarding. But the other big reward is just the skills that I've gained in life for myself and for my family. And seeing my kids blossom in a mindful way from the womb to infants to my now 5-year-old who uses these practices daily with me, and raising them in a different way, which has been very rewarding. So I would also like to say thank you to the entire faculty for just bringing this different path of life to me. So thank you.
I can add, because I agree with the other teachers, but to say another thing, I think that the most rewarding thing for me was that, is that the course, I think, is planned like life, like every challenge thing that happened is a place to learn and to live with. And if you leave that, as we say in the course, as a contraction, as Hugo said also, and that's it. And you leave the contraction the best you can. Be kind to yourself and enjoy the rest between contractions. And I think that's also applied to the course itself. So I think it's both the most challenging and rewarding part at the same time.
Thank you. That was such a beautiful way to end here. And I want to thank the panelists and Jane and Lily and Kira, who didn't get to say hello, but is the support behind all of this, and all of you for attending and sticking with us well over time here. Really appreciate you. As a final, just what can you do next? So I'm just going to present this here. So first, we invite you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I've thrown our handles down there. And then if you have specific questions about your experience, you're not sure if you quite meet the requirements or if this year is the right time and you don't know, that's what we're here for. And that's why we have such a long application cycle, is for you to have that dialogue with us. As you can see, we want to be very available and open and supportive to you and your path. So our email is listed there. Lily, who you've met today, will be the one responding back to you and able to answer any specific questions you have about your circumstances. And we really hope to see you in the fall or down the line. And thank you again for your time. We appreciate you.